because he was not only partying and having mistresses, he also worked, he did it. And he received friends and all the diplomats. It was like Louis XIV, so he had just ministers. He was doing his own government, but he had concepts. Louis XVI also used this cabinet as his work cabinet, and he received the American Declaration of the Independence. Yeah, very. You know, we are very, very friendly with Americans, but we helped the Americans because we hated more the English, even if they are our best enemies. But so, for example, if you go, if you look on the other side, you have candelabra. So it's a gilt bronze candelabra called the Independence of America candelabra, and it's a reminder of the Battle of York, which is the last battle of American independence. And you can see there is a cockerel eating an English leopard. I think the message is quite clear. And apparently, there were two other elements with a Moresque or black person on the candelabra, which were removed at the end of 19th century by the Prussians when they invaded France and they defeated the French. So they took these two characters. I'm not sure about that. This is a legend. I don't know. Below there is this commode. So this is not a commode, but it's a very good example because it's really like it looks like the commode made for Louis XV because it's the same maker. It's called Gaudreau, and it was made at the same date, 1739. And it's not a commode. It's a médailler. That means you have two doors you open, and then you have drawers when you could put medals. And why do we like medals? It's because usually you use a medal to remind an event. So, for example, Louis XVI, he was very fond of maritime and navigation, but he had never seen the sea. Can you imagine that? Today it would be totally nonsense, but he didn't see the sea, so he asked his government and his chancellor to go to see the sea. So here we go. In 1786, everybody's going to Normandy, to Cherbourg, with the court and everything like that. So he was very fond of that. He went on a boat. He spent the day there, and he was super, super excited. And then when he went back to Versailles, they created a medal just for this event. So now you have this medal. And it was put in this medallion. A piece of furniture ever made in the 18th century. It's called the desk of Louis XV, of Louis XV, and it was made by a cabinet maker called Eben. So he ordered it to Eben, but it was delivered by another cabinet maker called Risner. So why? How is that possible? It's because Eben died during the fabrication of this desk. And at this time, the widow, she didn't have the right to take care of the workshop, of course, we are in the 18th century. So what was the only possibility for her to maintain the workshop was to marry the first disciple. So it was Risner. Hopefully it was great. He was a fantastic cabinet maker, and later he became the most important cabinet maker for Marie Antoinette. So all the furniture was made by Risner. And what is so impressive, apart from the gilt bronze and the massive, it's because it's a secret desk. So you use that key, and then there is a locket underneath, and then you have the panel going that way. And I've seen a lot of that video, you can imagine, because I'm doing it very well. And then you have secret drawers. So actually it's not a desk, it's not only a desk, it's also a safe. And it's 450 kilos, so it's quite complicated to move. It was not sold during the revolutionary auction because the revolutionary committee said it's so impressive, it's so important, it's so great, it's the best ever, blah, blah, blah. So they kept it. And it stayed in a warehouse until 1957, when Queen Elizabeth II was coming on an official visit. And so France wanted to impress the Queen, of course. So they decided to display again the desk. So thanks to Queen Elizabeth II, we are now ready to show you that desk. And just two more things about that. You have this blue and white porcelain plate, which is not Wedgwood but Sèvres, that replaced the royal coat of arms, which were supposed to be on the desk because they wanted to destroy the royalty. And then you can see the marquetry, so you have very nice brown colors. But you have to imagine that at the moment when the desk was created, it was bright colors. So you have to imagine green, yellow, purple, everything like that. So today, I think if we were able to see a new piece of furniture, we would say it's so kitsch. Too bright. Now we like it. And the last thing, the last but not the least, the English say, you see the clocks? You have 2 dials. Like that you can see the hour and the time everywhere you are in the room. Very clever. And after going to his desk, we're going to go on the next room, which is his private desk and the secret desk. Which is more or less the real First World War, because you have all the European countries were during the war. We are friends who were against everybody, I think, but Russia. We tried to be friends with Russia, and as America was English, it was the war was there as well, and India, etc. So it was a huge war during the 18th century. In this room as well, you have also this fantastic piece of furniture, which is also a medallier. And it was, if you look at the panels, it's called art stone. It's feathers. They are sent in wax. So it's really, really rare to have that. And it's another way to have an item in Versailles. It is called a dation. That means you can pay your taxes with a piece of furniture. So in France, you can use it very far. The most important example is the Musée Picasso. Have you ever been there yet? The Musée Picasso in Paris. It's a huge, huge museum on Picasso. And when Picasso died, there were so many fees and taxes to pay that the government said, give us some paintings. And then we were very happy, and we value them. And then after, so they took like hundreds and hundreds of paintings, and now we have a museum thanks to that. So this piece of furniture was paid by the Rothschild family. I can say the name because it's totally official. It's called a screen. So usually it's when you have a room which is too big. And exactly, kind of. And with Chinese panels. I don't know if this is original or if it's just a reproduction, but at this time the chinoiserie and the French, they were very fond of China and the works of art and something like that. So it could be just a reproduction from an 18th century design. So who is Louis XVI? Because we have talked a lot about Louis XVI, but not Louis XVI. So Louis XVI, he is the great son of Louis XV. He's not his son. father doesn't care about him, so he's really lonely. When he became an heir, he received a great education. So he was, because in France again, Louis XVI, everybody thinks he's short and fat, and so he was not short. He was 1 meter 84, so not short, and he was a bit fat, not that large. And he spoke English fluently, Latin. He spoke few words of Farsi, so Persian, not that bad. And all the books belonged to him, so he read the books. And he has, when he became a king in 1774, he asked this library to be under construction very, very quickly, a few months after. And you see the style is totally different. You can see it's really rigid, very classical. You can see the allegory of painting. You can see the lira. You can see the Roman bust. It's very, very different from Louis XV. Louis XVI, he really enjoyed staying in his library because I told you he was a bit shy, and you know who he's married to. So he's married to Marie Antoinette, who is as young as him, because when they married, he was 15 and she was 14, and I'm sure you know everything about their couple, so it didn't work very well the first years. On the 80s after, they had the chance to become parents. So Louis XVI stayed a lot of time here by himself and with his friends. And he was very fond of navigation, I told you, so he received a very famous, I don't know if it's famous in Europe, ship diver called La Pérouse. So La Pérouse was supposed to do a World War II, and he didn't do it, and apparently he died in Fiji Island, but we don't know where exactly, I'm not sure about that. But he was very sad when he learned that La Pérouse died. This table is one piece of wood, 2 meters wide, not that bad. And it's on a rivet, so you can have it higher or shorter. It's to use the map and to be able to see it perfectly well. You can see also that Louis XVI was fond of geography, because here we are in 1778. That's the first time we can see Australia totally. Before we only have the edges of the total country. And here you also have some biscuits, so that means it's porcelain without paintings. It's with French and European theme, but it was made with all the most important author in France. So you have La Fontaine, Corneille, Molière, etc., etc. And you have this fantastic commode on the right side, which was not at the beginning made for this room. It was made for Fontainebleau, and then after it came here. And you can see the color. You see, it's a little bit green, so, and it's pale. So you have to imagine much brighter. This one was sold during the most domestic. It was sold during the Revolution, and then after he was bought by a Rothschild family, the Viennese Rothschild family, and it was sold in 1999 at Christie's in London by Monsieur and Madame Pinault, they are billionaires, and by the Amis de Versailles for 11 million euros. So you have to imagine the budget they have to have in Versailles to have back the items. Of course, this one is spectacular, and it was made directly for Louis XVI, so that's why it's so important. And it was made by Risner, remember, the small worker who married the widow. So after this library, we are going to the dining room, again, a new dining room, which was the private dining room of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. You can see it. There's the door. Let's go.